what we have to confront is a deep, systemic and structural restructuring of our world. And this will take some time. And the world will look differently after we have gone through this transition process.
Can you translate that for us? What is he really talking about?
He's talking about us essentially giving up individual national sovereignty and giving up individual freedoms and turning over rule to experts. In fact, at his meeting in Davos, he said he looked at everyone in the room, and these are billionaires, millionaires, corporate heads, government bureaucrats, Hollywood celebrities, the royal family, Bill Gates. He looked at everyone and he said, we have in this room, we get to decide the future of the planet. I mean, that's the kind of maniacal James Bond villain attitude he actually has. So what's significant, though, about this G20 speech you just played, Ali, he is now being treated as a head of state. It's now a nation state. It's reached that level status at a G20 summit where he can go up there and talk about radical restructuring, systemic restructuring of the planet, and he gets literally the same VIP treatment. And what's amazing about that is, how did he get to this position of power? Well, in the book I go back, it's founded in 1971, and the key to the way the World Economic Forum is so powerful, they found a way for businesses, academics, and lobbyists and fundraisers to meet with politicians off the books, outside the purview of lobbying, regulators, any oversight. And they have these annual meetings, and it's a free-for-all where you get corporations, government, celebrities, academia, all together, and they're meeting, they're talking, I hate to use the word conspiring, but they're planning. And this is how you end up with things like environment, social governance, ESG. This is how you end up with all of these corporate mandates. And what ultimately comes out of this, and this is the simplest way of looking at it, the Great Reset, the World Economic Forum, this whole agenda is to make it so we have no choice on some of the biggest questions of our lives, and just even down to the smallest. And here's a few examples. We didn't get to vote on whether gas-powered cars would be banned. We didn't vote for vaccine mandates. We didn't vote for lockdowns. We didn't vote to have churches closed. We didn't vote to have schools closed. We didn't vote for mask mandates. We didn't vote for banning of meat. But all of this is happening because at these meetings like the World Economic Forum and the United Nations, they meet and they work with government corporate collusion to bypass democracy. And in a simple sentence, the Great Reset is basically making the once free West copy the same model as one-party Chinese authoritarian rule. That is the Great Reset. They bypass democracy and impose stuff through this corporate government fascism. And we get told what's happening. We don't get to vote on it. There's no hearings in Congress. There's no town halls. There's no switchboards lighting up for a big vote. None of it. We're just told the car's gone. Your meat eating's going. Yeah. We're creating energy shortages. Sorry, you need a vaccine to go into this place. Sorry, your schools are closed. Sorry, your churches are closed. What? Huh? How did that happen?
Founded in 1971 by Klaus Schwab, the World Economic Forum is steeped in authoritarianism and Marxist ideology. It's an ideology which is creeping into governments across the world. To quote Schwab himself when speaking about the Canadian Parliament,
we penetrate the cabinets. So yesterday I was at a reception for Prime Minister Trudeau, and I know that half of this cabinet, or even more half of this cabinet, are for our actually young global leaders of the World Economic Forum.
That's true in Argentina as well.
It's true in Argentina, and it's true in France now. I mean, with the president, who is a young global leader.
The World Economic Forum promotes globalist issues such as climate change, so-called systemic racism and sexism, and creating an online digital identity. However, closer inspection reveals the World Economic Forum is an anti-capitalist, anti-free market organisation that seeks to subvert Western values and political processes. And they are very organised and very well funded. Their message is designed to appear harmless when in fact the ideology that underpins it is revolutionary and destructive. They train aspirational leaders in their ideology and help them make connections in spheres including politics, business and the arts. The World Economic Forum has consistently advocated for the harshest and most extreme COVID measures possible, including lockdowns, mandatory vaccinations, vaccine passports and mask mandates, despite these policies assaulting many of our basic liberties. The Forum believes that your freedoms should be minimised to prevent the imminent climate catastrophe, the one that's coming for 10 years and the last 50 years, by the way. The central theme of the World Economic Forum's material is what they call the Great Reset, which is Klaus Schwab's term for the opportunity the pandemic has presented to reimagine and reinvent the economic policies of the West. The term comes from Schwab directly himself with his 2020 book entitled The Great Reset. In a now deleted video titled 8 Predictions for the World in 2030, the World Economic Forum claimed that you'll own nothing and you'll be happy, a slogan that hits the same dystopian note as work makes you free and ignorance is strength. You don't have to be a political philosopher to figure out that if you own nothing, the state owns everything. There's a word for this. It's called communism. The World Economic Forum and its affiliates shamelessly promote the abolition of private property, a central facet of Karl Marx's demented utopian ideology which led to the deaths of tens of millions of people worldwide in the 20th century. No matter how sophisticated the World Economic Forum tries to make the abolition of private property around the world sound, the fantasies of Karl Marx always lead to the crushing of individuals' liberties and lives and the expansion of the state's tyranny and power. It is imperative that we pay close attention to the World Economic Forum and do all that we can to preserve liberty and reduce government intrusion in our lives. And if we fail to do so, the anti-democratic forces in the West will continue to march on, and we may wake up to an Australia that we no longer recognise. Australians deserve to know the extent to which the World Economic Forum's influence and infiltration of our country and how far it has gone, and we're going to find out.
Shalom, Kahala Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, Ba'Shem Rakal Pardash. Double honors my teachers, the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and mercy to the elect, with the house of David reborn again in this generation. And shalom to the 130 Yasharallah, who today we're known as the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, who before losing our true heritage, we were known as, and still are, the true Hebrew Israelites of the Holy Bible. In today's lesson, we're going to talk about the videos we just watched and how EDOMs world order is bypassing democracy. But let's read this first. This is Isaiah 10:1. Woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees, and that write grievousness which they have prescribed. So, as we just watched in these two videos, it is very plain that this new world order that is coming forward at the hands of Esau's power, and that is also his agenda to pass, is being done in a righteous manner. You see, it's getting to the point where these politicians and political analysts are coming straight out and telling you that what is being done is unlawful and how it bypasses legal avenues. And why is that? Well, because this world has been given into the hands of the wicked. The Edomites are the ones in power. And if this isn't proof enough that they'll change their laws to suit their needs, then I don't know how to convince you. But you see, other people are starting to also realize this, and this is causing an uproar amongst the populace. You see, people are starting to realize that they don't have autonomy over their lives, and that not only have they been lied to, but that the system of power has been manipulated and really is just a sham. Right? There's more people understanding that voting today has nothing really to do with the results of an election. Okay? And this is, it shouldn't be a surprise to any people out there that understand how politics works, right? Because it's not the people that elect a president, for example, but the electoral college. Okay? And this is just the system that Esau has set up. And right now, Esau is gunning for a new system, his new world order, which is the same enterprise that he's been working at ever since he created America back in 1776. You see, America was created, let's get the timeline real quick. It was created on the same year that these Edomites started up the Illuminati. Okay? It tells you right here. It says in 1776, May 1st, which is why May 1st is a big day to these devils, because it's a celebration of their enterprise that they started. It says May 1st, 1776, Johann Adam Weishaupt founded the Illuminati in the Electorate of Bavaria. Okay, this is where the Bavarian Illuminati come from, right? It was started by Adam Weishaupt, again, who had ties to the Freemasons. Now, in that same year, America was formed with the Declaration of Independence and engineered by occultists, because again, the founding fathers, for the most part, the majority of them were occultists, meaning they were Freemasons, Jesuits, Hell's Fire Club members, and they did it with an intention that it would serve a purpose. You see, America is referred to within the inner circles of these occultists as the New Atlantis. Okay? Because what they're trying to do is bring forward the Atlantis empire that existed before the great deluge, before the great flood of Noah. Okay, this is where all their magic comes from. This is where, when you get into Freemasonry, secret rituals, it all goes back to Egypt. Well, where did Egypt get it from? Well, it got it from the previous world civilization. Well, these occultists are using this magic now to pass their agenda. And how are they doing it? Well, by making up lies, by using propaganda, by using manipulative messaging, right? Having all the news agencies repeat the same ad hominem attacks against reputable journalists and people who bring up good questions, right? By steering the narrative in their own manner. This is all a form of magic that these devils have control over. This is why the world was able to be locked down by them, because again, they control the world because it has been given into their hands. This is Isaiah 29:15. Woe unto them that seek deep to hide their counsel from Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, and their works are in the dark, and they say, who seeth us, and who knoweth us? Because again, these occultists, and along with all the elites of society, they're all part of a secret circle. And this has been referred to as the 1%, the Freemasons, the Jesuit order, the elites of the world. The Bible refers to them as the kings of Edom, right? Or the Chaldeans. These people here are sorcerers and witches, and they're running their kingdom as they see fit, right? By the power of Satan. And this is why you're seeing all this witchcraft coming out now a lot heavier than it did years ago. Because again, they're starting to come out into the open. Because again, remember, Albert Pike, who was a 33-degree Freemason, explained to the Italian politician back in, I think, 1871, that their plan was to bring out in the open the full-on doctrine of Luciferianism, basically Satanism, okay? And to do that, they would bring forward this new order that they need to be in place for them to succeed in their plans. This is Matthews 24 and 22. And except those days should be shortened, there shall no flesh be saved, but for the elect's sake those days shall be shortened. And this is the reason why the days in these last couple of years have seemed a lot shorter. Now, science explains it as the Schumann resonance, which is the vibration that the earth vibrates at, has sped up, and it now makes us perceive a 24-hour day as 16 hours. But realistically, what this is that this is the prophecy written here in the scripture, and that the Lord is speeding up the time. And the mechanisms that Esau finds through his science is just that. He's finding out what the Lord has already done. And the Lord has sped up time. And why? Well, because you see, these devils, in their mind, believe that they have already won. And why is that? Well, because they have won. If the Lord wasn't around, you see, this is why we need the Lord to come back, because there's no way that we're going to be able to take down Edom, right? Because they have this thing on lock. They have every angle covered. And the only way that they'll be taken down is by the Lord's will. And that is because the Lord is with these Edomites. Remember, the Lord set up Esau to be the hammer of the earth and to be the rod for his chastening of the people, and namely for us Israelites. But now that we're coming to the end of Edom's rulership and the beginning of the Israelite rulership, along with the Messiah, this kingdom will eventually go on indefinitely. And what that means is that the Lord doesn't need Edom anymore. So this is why the Lord's ultimately going to get rid of Edom. This is Ephesians 6:2. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. So again, just as it was back then, it is the same today. The wicked rule the world, and they do it by nefarious means, namely magic and occultist practices, from hypnosis, suggestive meditation, or the straight up programming that happens when people will look at their TVs or their phone screens. See, these devils are out there pushing out spells, but we just see it as broadcasts or TV shows or commercials. But again, we're on to these Edomites. We were on to the work of the devil. And why is that? Well, because Numbers 23 and 23, there is no enchantment against Jacob, meaning that those Israelites that have awoken and have looked into what's really going on, we have spiritual protection that we need to withstand these spiritual attacks that are coming upon us. And how does that happen? Well, by returning to the Lord, by repenting and getting right with the Lord according to what the Bible says, so that way the Lord can watch over and protect us. This is Job 20 and 23. When he is about to fill his belly, God shall cast the fury of his wrath upon him, and shall rain it upon him while he is eating. So what this is talking about is that these Edomites, they're about to eat, okay? And when I say that, I mean they're about to come into their new agenda. They're about to launch their new world order, right? And that's equivalent to them eating, right? Being satisfied. But what's going to happen, like it tells you here, that right in the midst of when they are about to accomplish their goals, that's when the Lord's going to ultimately show up. And he's not only going to show up, but he's also going to destroy these Edomites along with their creation and their system of power that has been a corrupt power upon the face of the earth. But either way, Akim, I just wanted to show you these videos. I wanted to show how these devils move, right? Because again, very interesting videos showing you that these devils, how they maneuver around laws. They simply move the agenda to the private sector when it suits their will. So either way, Akim, hopefully this video was edifying. Until next time, I want to give all honor and glory and praises to Yahweh B'Shem Yahshai B'Ashem Ruach Kodash. Shalom.